Have you ever wanted something so bad that you would do anything for it? And I mean anything? Well, that was me, and today I'm going to be showing you what I did to prepare for that. Before we get started, hello, my name is Bri'Ann Beckley. I'm 13 years old in 8th grade and I go to post-middle school. I'm in the Skagit Valley Split Range and this is my first year in 4-H. I chose the topic of beginner horse care because I have owned a horse for 1 year and I would like to share my knowledge with you guys. Preparation. Before your horse comes to your house, there's a lot of steps that you need to take to make sure that it is safe and less stressful for them. The first step is making sure that you have a shelter to keep your horse out of the weather. There are lots of different types of shelters. There's barns, lean-tos, and something simple like this of just a stall and then a little tack room. Then you're also going to need your tools. These are the 3 tools that I find myself using the most, which are a pitchfork, broom, and shovel. There's loads and loads of other types of tools. Then you're going to need fencing. Whether your horse is kept in an open shelter, they're going to need a turnout place like a paddock, pen, or pasture. Then you're going to need their feeding storage. I like using a manger and a hay net. I find the manger most helpful in the winter months and a hay net most helpful in the summer months and traveling. Then you're going to need a water trough to store the horse's water, and of course you're going to need hay and a water source. Next up are some additional things into your preparation. First up is a halter to catch your horse and groom them and do things with them. Then you have your brushes to keep them clean, and they're also a great way to bond with your horse. Treats to reward your horse and to grow a bond with them. And a blanket depending on the month. If it's summertime, you don't really need to worry about this one yet. Arrival. When your horse arrives, it can be very, very stressful for the owner and the horse. Some things you can do to make sure that it is not stressful is bring your horse home in daylight. Bringing them home in daylight will make them have more time to get used to their surroundings and have time to look around. Quiet. You're gonna want to make sure that it is quiet. You don't want something like construction going on because that's just more stress to put on your horse. You're going to want to make sure that your pasture is clean. You don't want toys and cars and a bunch of random junk laying around. You want to make sure that it's very prepped and good for them. Next is time. You need to know that, especially when you first get your horse, it's going to take a lot of time. You can't just put your horse in the pasture and go inside on about your day. You need to walk your horse through all the different parts of your pasture, show them where their stall is, show them where their water trough is, and all the little bits like that. Next up is do not ride. I know riding is really fun, but when you first get your horse, you don't want to ride them for like a week or so. Later on, after a week or so, you can start getting your horses used to their surroundings. You can venture out to outside of your horse's pasture, the roads, trails, arenas, if you have them. And then you can start to do some light riding, like walking and trotting. And then you can also start to desensitize your horse of anything around you, like your whips, crops, saddle pads, cones, barrels, anything that you see they're scared of. And you can also start building your trust. There's lots and lots of ways that you can build trust with your horse, but some of them are grooming, spending time with them on the groundwork, and just a lot of other things. Some simple care that you need to know from owning a horse for your whole life is that you need to exercise your horse regularly. They need to be exercised weekly because it keeps them in shape. And depending on your horse's circumstances and what your vet recommends, of course it's going to be different. For example, if you have a 7-year-old horse, they need to be worked almost every day, whereas a 19-year-old horse doesn't need to be worked nearly as much. But of course, if you're competing, you need to keep your horse in shape. You're also going to need to groom your horse daily. Grooming has lots and lots of benefits, and some of those are that it's a great way to bond, it moves their blood circulation around, and helps with their essential oils, and it keeps them clean. Another thing for your simple care is you need to make sure that your horse has a good portion of food for their size and weight. Also, again, you can listen to what your vet says, but having a good sized portion of food is important for your horse's health, and it does take a lot of experimenting and time. It took me almost a year to find a good diet for my horse, and experimenting with different foods like different brands of grain, different types of hay. When you try different types of food, like for example, if you were going from local hay to orchard hay, you need to make sure that you are slowly moving so that your horse doesn't colic. Another thing that you're going to need to do is have yearly vet checks. You're going to want to make sure that your horse is healthy and is in good shape, especially if you're competing. Another thing you're going to need to get regularly is farrier appointments. Every 6 to 8 weeks, your horses need to get their feet trimmed, and even if they don't have shoes on, they still need to get trimmed, or else it can result in more injuries. And lastly, for simple care, you're going to need to make sure that you clean your area, whether it's your stall, pen, paddock, anywhere. You need to be keeping that clean for your horse. Things to expect. You're going to need to expect lots and lots of spooking. When you first get your horse, they don't know the area, so they're going to be kind of scared of everything, like you would probably be too. Like, for example, your horse could get scared if you just go up to pet them. You don't know, so just be careful. Another thing is bonding. I know a lot of people expect to have like a great bond with their horse in the first week, but that's not the case. It takes lots and lots of time and lots of trust and doing things together to build a good bond. Time consuming. It is very time consuming, especially when you first get your horse. I know a lot of people think that it's going to be just like owning a dog, where you have to spend maybe an hour or two with them a day. But with horses, there's a lot more that goes into it. You have to ride them, keep them company, groom them, clean their stalls. If they get hurt, you have to take care of them. There's just lots and lots of steps that go into it. Conclusion. In conclusion, owning a horse is a lot more stressful than you would think it would be, but it is really, really fun. And I know a lot of people think that they just want to get on their horse right away, but in reality, you just have to spend a lot of time with them on the ground first. If you have any questions, you can email me at jubileerain@gmail.com. I got my information from my personal experiments, Lang's Horse and Pony Farm in Mount Vernon, Washington, my vet, and I got some of the pictures from google.com. Thank you so much for your time. Bye.